Oh, bom dia, boa tarde, bonjour, ça va? I was just deciding whether to go cap or no cap. Oh, yeah, you get my saying. Let's go cap. So today I'm going to talk about my manifestation formula. I am really excited to be sharing this with you. I have read so many books on manifestation, consumed so much content, and I've been very hesitant in the past about talking about manifestation because I didn't think it was fully embodied. And I am now really understanding. Hey Finn, how you doing, brother? And Avi, Anthony, good to see you. I now understand it on a really deep level, and I feel like I'm really embodying how manifestation works. So I'm really excited to share my my formula. And there was a moment recently when I realized I understand manifestation. It was a weekend over December where my wife and I were at the beach, and I was talking to like my new best bud here, and the sun was setting. It was a beautiful day. It was like 20 degrees. Our wives were chatting, our kids were playing together, and I realized I am so content and I have everything that I need in this moment and in life right now. And it wasn't by chance that I'd created this life. It was a very intentional choice and decisions that I've made, and I really have manifested my dream life. There's nothing else I really need in my life, and it has been very intentional. I have lived and created this life by design, and it's been a journey getting here, of course, with many challenges, getting lost along the way, and remembering. But I really, really understand manifestation on a deep, deep level, and I've read so many books. And I really, in this session, want to kind of undo. I think I'll help you unlearn how to manifest because I misunderstood it for such a long time, and I understand it so deeply now. And I think so many people get manifestation wrong and are actually unintentionally pushing their desires away. So I actually hope today there's some unlearning, but also I, I really hope that you leave this feeling relaxed and breathing out. It's that, ah, it's in that calm, that energy that you manifest. It's not in that's not how you manifest. And I really want to help you see that and really feel it. Because when you feel it, when you have a felt sense of how to manifest and you experience it, you see it, wow, you realize there is nothing to do. And that's going to be a really key message today is there is just nothing to do. And that may sound very triggering and challenging. And, well, what do you mean? I'll just become a lazy fart and sit on the couch all day. No, 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 no. Yeah, I'm going to really try and undo a lot of learning. So I want to chat firstly about some of the mistakes that I see people making in their manifestation journey and also mistakes that I made, of course. And the first is trying too hard. This is probably the biggest of them all. It's in that trying too hard, we actually unintentionally, unconsciously push things away. Because what message are we sending to the universe, to anyone on an energetic level, on a very practical level? What message are we sending if we try too hard? It's one of neediness. It's one of desperation. It's one of urgency. It's one of lack. And that lack attracts more lack. So I really, really want you to hear this because I've read so many books on manifestation. Consumed so much content, and I was always under the impression there was these things I had to do, a certain order of actions of I have to tickle my ear and say 15 things in a row and blah blah blah. It's like yes, that stuff can work, but it's really where that stuff is coming from, the energy, the embodiment as you were doing that stuff. And I've been in those moments where I'm like, right, got to manifest, and I'm all uptight, and I'm trying to visualize my future, and I'm trying to manifest, and I'm trying to like, it's like that's doing the opposite effect because it's actually confirming lack. That's really, really crucial to understand, is that we attract essentially who we are. And in that trying, that force, that is sending an indication, a message that we are coming from lack. And linked to that is this mistake of doing manifestation. It's like something to do. Manifestation is not something you do, it's who you are. It's how you live. And we are manifesting all the time. Everything in your life, you look around, you have manifested, we have manifested. It's not something you do, it's in who you are. I really want you to hear that. The the other mistake, and this is again one I made, is just thinking manifestation is about thinking positive. Now, of course, our thoughts become things. Our thoughts become reality. But if it's not supported by a feeling, I call it almost like an embodied thought, then it's pointless. You could think all the positive thoughts, but if your body, your energy is saying something different, that's what the universe will pick up on. The universe can um, communicates with us and receives messages from us, from our feeling, from our emotion, from our subconscious, not in just the thoughts. And I think there's been a big misunderstanding. And certainly it was for me. It's just, think positively and I'll just create. It's like if it's not backed up by the feeling, then it's pointless. So it's really the feeling where the power is. And the final mistake is overcomplicating. I've been there. I have been there. And I have found a path now which is so simple. And I think we have to go through that struggle and go through that seeking, go through the confusion and trying to find our path to realize it is so simple. And, I'm going to share my formula today, and there's 8 things that go in the formula, but it's no just one thing. It's again, it's a sense, it's a feeling, it's who you are. And it's again not something you do. It's not a box ticking exercise. It's not I need to lift this one, bang, 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 bang. It's not that. It's really in who you are. It's in less, and it's in simplification. That's probably the one biggest thing that I'm really taking from my path of following Taoism is simplification. I think with the commercialization of the spiritual path of manifestation, the commercialization has, I think there's no blame here, or I've certainly perhaps been guilty of it, but there's a tendency to overcomplicate. And I think we overcomplicate in trying to seek the answer, and there's a tendency to overcomplicate this all to ensure people sign up to our courses or what have you. But it is so simple. I really want you to hear that, because again, that is something that's landing so deeply. Manifesting is so simple, and it's in the simplification where all the power is. This is something that I'm really, really leaning into, and again, Taoism is really guiding me in that. Now, before I talk about my formula, I want to just talk briefly about the 3 biggest blockages to manifesting. And really, like, manifesting is, as I say, it's less about what you do, it's about who you are, it's about your being. And it's more about what you let go of rather than what you add. It's not about addition. It's not about, I need to add this mantra and this meditation and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we are always manifesting. And I've been certainly guilty of, like, right, I'll do my 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes of manifesting and visioning, and then I'll be good for the day. It's like, well, that's 0.1% of your day. What are you doing for the other 99% of the time? And if you are worrying, if you are fearful, and if you are impatient in that 99% of the time, that 1% of visioning is completely irrelevant. So it's not in that 1%, it's in the 99%. It's in who you are, how you're living. And the 3 biggest blockages to manifesting that I've observed in myself and others is worrying, fear, and impatience. Those are the 3 biggest, because what emotions do they create in your body? Well, of course, it is one of anxiety, it's one of worry, it's one of tightness. And even saying that, your body just sort of contracts, right? And that's the message that those emotions, feelings emit. We attract who we are. So that's just what we're going to attract more of. We'll attract more things to worry about, more things to be fearful of, and more things to be impatient. So it's what I've noticed about manifestation, it's about letting go, not adding. It's about subtraction, not adding. I think it's Esther Hicks who has the analogy of, if you take a cork from the top of the surface of water and bring it down, that's what we do to ourselves by applying pressure, impatience, worry, fear. And we don't, to get the cork back to its natural state, we don't push it down further. We don't actually need to do anything. We just let it go. And that's such a crucial bit of understanding in manifestation and creating your dream life, is that it's in the letting go, it's in the surrender, it's in the breath out. It's in that where we manifest. It's not in the doing, in the force that actually creates and attracts more of that. So again, 3 biggest blockages: worry, fear, and patience. Now let me talk about my 8 kind of ingredients that I'm reading a lot of books, studying manifestation and really manifesting my dream life. My business did just under, like 20 grand under, $250,000 last year, my 2nd year of business in the coaching industry that I'm in. And I'm living in a beautiful place in the world. There's nothing else I need in my life. And I say that not to brag, but I just say that to hopefully give some gravitas to what I'm about to say, because I really deeply understand manifestation right now. And I'm so deeply peaceful because I just know that it's happened, and that's an ingredient I'll get to. So the first ingredient is one of emptiness. And I actually want to turn to the Tao Te Ching and chapter or verse 11, which says, 30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is in the hole in the it is on the hole in the center that the use of the cart hinges. Shape clay into a vessel, it is the space within it's the space within that makes it useful. Carve fine doors and windows, but the room is useful in its emptiness. The useful of what is depends on what is not. And this, for me, tells me that the usefulness of everything is in the emptiness. Even the room you're in, what's the useful part of the room you're in? It's in the emptiness. A bowl, a glass, what's the useful part of a glass? It's in the emptiness. And again, this aligns with what I was saying earlier, like manifestation is not something you do, it's about what you let go of. And I'm seeing more and more, yes, the intellect, the conscious mind is very, very powerful, of course it is, but I think its main purpose is to switch itself off, because in switching itself off, we tap into silence and we tap into the realm of our subconscious, of intuition, and that's where our dreams live, not in the noise. So again, there's nothing to actually do here. It's in the emptiness. So if you don't have a practice to silence your mind every single day, it's not about how to think your way to manifestation. It's literally how empty can I be? How empty my mind can be. So yes, meditation works, but also like cutting out the noise. I'm sure you would agree that the news is total dross. I haven't watched the news for decades, and I really don't plan to ever again. It is full of fear. It is full of things that bring our vibration down, bring us into negativity. Same with people. Cut out negative people in your life. Cut out anyone that just brings you down, or just don't let it in. Have the ability, the emotional discipline to have boundaries with people who are toxic and negative. I just don't let that stuff in, because my vibration, my being is so much more important. And I'll always find the light in things. And this isn't about burying my head in the sand. This is also knowing that where there's darkness, there is light. And there's a beautiful story that Wayne Dyer tells. I think he was climbing a mountain in Pakistan. And on the day he was climbing this mountain, he had an amazing vistage, basically, where on the left, he could see this pilgrimage, which happens every year, where hundreds of thousands of people go on this pilgrimage and devote themselves to God and pray and what have you. And it's a very peaceful, beautiful pilgrimage. And on the other side of this mountain was a riot, but this riot had like 100 people at it. Hundreds of thousands of people turn up to this pilgrimage on the left, 100 people rioting on the right. Now guess what was on the news that night when he got back to his hotel? Of course, the riot. The news, people are conditioned to focus on the negative, but there's always light in everything. And again, this isn't about burying your head in the sand. This is about understanding that our vibration is what matters in this. And the way to defeat the dark is with that light. So I just don't let the negative in. I cut out the noise. I cut out the negative news, and I focus on cultivating this inner harmony, this love, and this emptiness. Again, it's in the emptiness that something becomes useful. It's not the matter. It's the emptiness. And actually, if you look at our bodies, if you really take a massive microscope and look at our bodies, it's wild. We are 99.99999% emptiness. If you got all of the matter of us into one, like combined it into one thing, it would add up to a sugar cube. So I'm told. And whatever the size actually is, it is mind blowing. So it's actually in the emptiness that we become useful. It's in emptiness that anything becomes useful. So it's not about adding, it's not about doing, it's not about thinking, it's about emptying. And that's the one useful thing our conscious mind can do. It can switch itself off. So emptiness. The second ingredient is aligning with the river of compassion. And this is something, again, I'm going to turn to the Tao Te Ching because this is really where I get my wisdom from and really what's guiding me in life. And it says, heaven is eternal, the earth endures. Why do heaven and earth last forever? They do not live for themselves only. This is the secret of their durability. For this reason, the sage puts himself last and so ends up ahead. He stays a witness to life, so he endures. Serve the needs of others, and all your needs will be fulfilled. Through selfless action, fulfillment is attained. And wow, like this is a verse that I come back to over and over and again. It's one of those verses that I read was just like straight through the heart. And there's this sort of cosmic joke. There's this sort of really crazy paradox where the more we give without expectation or condition, the more we get. Now, I've been guilty of that in the past of, oh, cool, the more I give, that means the more I'll get. I'll go and be generous and I'll go and give. And of course, I'm giving with expectation. I'm giving with condition. So my needs aren't met. And it's such a nuance, but you cannot give because you're expecting to get. You give because it feels good. You give because it's the right thing to do. You give because it's our natural essence. It's in our natural, it's who we are. Lao Tzu says, the sage gives to the kind, the sage gives to the unkind. And this is what this is about. It's about aligning with the river of compassion. This is naturally who we are. And again, there's nothing to do here. It's about aligning with our higher self, with our heart, and trusting that. And when you do that, you're just naturally generous. And what happens is that the flow of giving comes back to yourself. And as the verse says, serve the needs of others and your own needs will be fulfilled. For this reason, the sage puts himself last and so ends up ahead. That's the secret to their durability. This energy, this goodness that you get from unconditional, detached giving and kindness, the energy that you get from that is infinite. It's infinite. I have so much energy right now. I feel like I'm just flying through life because I'm really in that river of compassion. I'm giving generously with my time, with my energy, financially. I'm sending books to people with no expectation. Anytime I think of a generous act, I do it. Why? Because it's good for me and it's good for them. It's a compassionate act. There's no expectation. There's no condition there. And this has been a really profound shift in me. And it's come from a deep level of trust. And again, it's so nuanced here. And maybe sometimes you just need to give because you think you're going to get, just to experience. It's not that. You don't get fulfilled from that energy when it's coming from the ego. You only fill your bucket when you actually give without expectation. This is about devotion. This is about devotion to service, devotion to love, devotion to service consciousness. You know, every day I just think, how can I be of service today? How can I be of service today? Is something I often ask in meditation, and I surrender to that. And that often means putting my own needs to the side. But the paradox is, by putting my own needs to the side, my own needs get fulfilled. I really hope you can hear this. It's such a powerful, powerful shift. And this is very real as well. Let me make it real for you. So I really try and live beyond my ego, and of course I get it wrong. I'm far from perfect here, but I really try and live beyond my ego. And sometimes after a long day of work, I am in my ego. I kind of want to look after my own needs. And my wife might say something that goes against my own agenda. It goes against what I wanted to do that night. And it triggers me. But my goal is to be a man of the Tao, a man that lives beyond the ego. So in those moments, I notice the tightening, the constriction. I notice my thoughts coming in, and I let that go. Let that go. It's in that out breath that I empty those thoughts. I empty my mind. In that emptiness, I ask, how can I be of service? What does my wife need? She needs a foot rub. She needs a massage. And when I do that, it actually gives back, it fuels me more than had I been like, well, no, this is what I want to do. There would have been conflict there. But actually, in the act of service, I'm actually giving to myself. It's such a paradox. And I just want to finish this point with a story from, I think it's Zen Buddhism, where a monk was out for a walk, and he noticed a homeless person who was naked, shivering, and he took off his cloak and gave it to this homeless person and said, here you go. Walked away, but the homeless person didn't say thanks, and the monk went back and said, well, you could have said thanks for giving you my cloak. And the homeless person replied, well, you could have said thanks for giving me your coat. And it turned out that homeless person was a senior monk, and he was there to teach this monk the lesson of what true compassion is. The Buddhists say that compassion is the act of taking away suffering without adding to the suffering. See, that monk added to the suffering with his poor thinking, with his conditional thinking, his attached giving, his giving with expectation. That's not a truly compassionate act. Giving without expectation, giving because it feels good, giving because you want to, that's a compassionate act. It takes away suffering without adding to it. And when you start aligning with this river of compassion, when you start aligning with this service consciousness, with this compassionate consciousness, you just get in the flow of compassion. You realize all your needs will be met. All your needs will be met. So this is something I've spoken for a while now because it's so important. It's something I've really seen a shift of recently. So number 3 is maximizing. This is another one that's really shifted for me in the last 6 months or so. So maximizing is about firstly taking stock about what you already have, your tools, your skills, your strengths, the house, and maximizing it as if you were already at the goal, like treating those things as if you were already at the goal. So if you look around my house is very, very tidy. Often with the kids, that's not the case when they're playing. But at the end of the day, I will always take 30 minutes to clean up the house, wipe down the surfaces, make everything look really great, fold up the blankets and what have you. And I really aim to treat my house as if I was in my dream house. Is my current house my dream house? Absolutely not. Is my car? It's a nice car. Is it my dream car? Absolutely not. But I treat those things as if they were my dream cars, because the universe is just not going to give you things if you're not treating it as if you would when it gives the thing that you really want. So this is such an important point. Our mind plays tricks on us all the time. And that biggest trick is once I get there, then I will. Once I have my dream house, then I'll buy the plants, then I'll look after it, and then I'll keep it tidy. All of that is just trickery of the mind. The key is look after your stuff now as if you were already there. Look after your house, look after your relationships, look after your loved ones, your family. It's about showing the universe who you are in everything you do. It's not just about who you are at work, who you are at home, who you are at the barista. It's about all of that. It's about the 24-hour view of the day of who you are. It's about how you look after your house, how you look after your car. And it's about maximizing what you already have rather than always looking for the next thing. And a classic one here is in courses, in learning. I've certainly been guilty of this. It's like, what's the next course? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Rather than going, actually, what have I already got? And that's really what I'm doing now is like, what have I already got? If I didn't learn anything for the rest of my life, what have I already got? And in that maximizing, I get really resourceful. And if I show that resourcefulness, then I'm going to be given more because I'm going to be trusted with more resources to be resourceful with. So maximizing is another massive one. Number four, and I relabeled this as I was starting this, is living like a child. And this doesn't mean stropping and all that, but one of the greatest gifts of having kids is just to see their little soul, their essence, and how they, when they want something, they just say it until they get it. And there's no, am I worthy of this? Am I good enough for this? It's just, no, I want that. I'm going to get it. and it's infuriating as a parent, of course, but they always tend to get it. And I'm not saying my kids are spoiled, but like they're very insistent and they're very persistent. So living as a child, but it also means having that like it doesn't mean anything about them. So sometimes I say to my daughter like, no, it's just a no today, and she'll go okay, and then just walk on. So she'll keep asking for it, and as soon as I say no, she's like okay. There's no meaning that she attaches to herself from that. The other thing about being a kid and living as a kid is just living in a state of awe and wonder. I think gratitude is a pretty well-known ingredient to manifestation. Of course, gratefulness is unbelievably powerful, but for me, there's like one step beyond that, which is living in a state of awe. If you see me on my morning walks, I often am caught saying like, wow, holy shit. And I do this walk multiple times a day, but it still blows my mind how beautiful this place is, how beautiful everywhere is. And you can have that awe and wonder everywhere you live. You can have it in just a single breath. Like, I really invite you today to just enjoy a breath. Think of all the intricacies, all the amazing things that happen in your body for you to breathe, for your heartbeat, all the amazing things that happen in your body to digest food. Like when you live in that awe and wonder, of course the universe can handle your little requests for making more money or a dream relationship or better health. Of course it can handle that because look at all the other things that it's handling. And I think that state of awe really brings out that, well, of course it can. When you look up at the sky, you see all the stars and you see the moon and you see these like just wow, like wow, literally wow. When you live in that state, it's just like, well, of course, if I want a pay rise, of course if I want a client, the universe will respond to that. Of course it will, because look at what else it can do. And here we are with our, massive egos thinking, the universe can't handle our requirements. But of course it can. Living with awe, wonder, curiosity, that childlike play is such a big shift. And not only will you manifest things quicker, but life is just so much better. I am very childlike in my essence, in who I am, and that speeds up my manifestation, but also life just gets so much better. So really inviting you into that childlike, living like a child with that persistence of asking till you get it, and also just living with that wow, awe and wonder. It's been such a great gift of having children. Getting down on their level and like looking at a ladybug for the first time. Like, that is insane. A bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly, but it fucking flies. It doesn't care what humans think is possible for it. This is what's possible. This is what the universe can create. So living with that awe and wonder. So the fifth ingredient is very simple. It's just asking. And the way I ask for what I want is in a feeling. And I don't like overthink it, and I don't like, yes, I've got a vision board but I haven't got massively specific and written it down, but there's a feeling to behind what achieving certain things would give me. And I really dwell on those feelings and kind of surrender the how, let go of the how, because trust me, the universe can handle that. It's dwelling in the feeling because again, we attract who we are. We attract the frequency we vibrate at. Like attracts like. So it's dwelling on the frequency, sorry, dwelling on the feeling of having the thing that you want. That's how we ask. And we can say out loud, but for me, it's actually just dwelling on the feeling of having the thing that you want. That is how we ask. And the universe won't say if it's right or wrong. It will just respond. It will just give it to you. And everything in your life right now is something you've manifested. You're manifesting all the time with your feeling, with your attention. That's it. It's so simple, manifestation. I really want you to get this. Dwell on the feeling of being there and live as if it was already here, and everything, all your needs will be fulfilled. Because the beautiful thing also, living as if it was already here, what will you do? Well, your natural essence of who you are will just naturally start giving. It's the ultimate act of abundance, is to give. Because what message is that saying to the universe? Well, I've got enough. There's more coming, so I'll give it. I'll give away. And that giving just attracts the flow of abundance, that flow of compassion. We get in line with the river of compassion. So simply just asking. And you're asking all the time. The universe is always listening. We're always transmitting messages with our feelings, with intentions. It's always listening. So you don't even really need to ask, like you don't even really need to write it down because it's always listening. By going around to a friend's house and going, oh, this is a nice kitchen, that's a request. Oh, this is a nice car, that's a request. Oh, I'd love to work at Google, that's a request. Oh, you know what, I'd love 3 clients next month. That's a request. The universe is always listening. So there's actually nothing to do here. It's about just trusting that if you are letting go of the negativity, letting go of the worry, the impatience, the fear, our natural essence is one of abundance, one of gratitude, one of like curiosity, one of like, oh yeah. And when we allow those desires without judgments, the universe will respond. That's how we ask. We just allow the desires. Don't worry about the judgments. Let go of the judgments. Allow our desires. Dwell on the feeling of those desires as if it was already here, and the universe will respond. So I hope that makes sense. Number 6, and it's a similar thing, but I think this, if there's been the biggest shift for me recently, it's this one, and that's acting as if. There's something I say to myself and my clients all the time, and that is, it is done. Because there's been a very profound shift for me recently. I think it was in reading the first chapter of Tao Te Ching. One of my favorite lines of Tao Te Ching, probably one of the most famous, is that the Tao does nothing but leaves nothing undone. And it seems like such a paradox, right? It does nothing but leaves nothing undone. And when you understand this, you realize again, there is nothing to do. And really, to my understanding, Taoism is a lot about non-duality. It's about there's no right or wrong, there's no dark without light. And it's the same with wanting and having. If you actually think about it, wanting and having are the same thing. They're just on a different scale. Because before you have something, you need to want it. So it's actually two of the same thing. Like, think of growing a tomato. Okay, you want to grow a tomato. You plant the tomato seeds, and then you allow it. Then you have it. But there was no effort in that. You start with the trying, and then you allow. It's the same with manifestation. So everything that you want is already here. Everything that you want, you already have. So the invite and the challenge is trusting that it is done, because it is. Wanting and having are the same thing. And I know this sounds like a mind-bending paradox, but honestly, this has been such a big shift for me. When you understand wanting and having are the same thing, when you put out desires, you know it's just done. The goal is just to then walk towards it without any effort, without any struggle, without any impatience, and knowing that anything you want is already on its way to you, because the universe is in perfect order. There's not a single grain of sand that is out of place. So your thought of wanting something creates a chain reaction, and the having is the other side of that. So as I said at the start of this, there's nothing to do. It's in who you are. It's in these transmissions that will get immediately picked up on and responded to. And if you have enough intention and belief, the universe will respond rapidly, like I'm talking rapidly. My business is moving in a way very, very quickly because I have so much belief that it is done. And I say to myself all the time, it is done. The only variables in my eyes are when it gets done and how much I enjoy it. And the more I enjoy it, the faster it will get done. That's how I live. I just walk towards the goal, knowing that it's already done, knowing that achieving the goal makes no difference because I'm already there. It sounds again like a paradox, like a bit of a mind fuck. But this is where the sweet spot of manifestation is. It's in walking towards it as if it was already done. And it's something I say to myself over and over and over again. It is done. And I promise you, anyone who is listening to this right now, anything that you want is already done. How to push it away or slow it coming to you is with worry, is with impatience, is with fear. So let go of all of that stuff and just keep coming back to it is done. Embody that energy of it is done. Feel what it's like. Feel what it's like to imagine it is done. I say it to myself all the time. And it's why I'm so relaxed and so calm and so joyful and so playful with life because I just know it is done. So really, this has been a big one. I think if I could say one thing in this, it would have been this. It is done. Number 7, last two, is in receiving. Actually allowing ourselves to receive. Again, the universe is infinite and it's expanding and it's naturally abundant. And we are part of that universe. Of course, there's no separation between us and nature. And in that natural order of things, then abundance is our natural birthright. So it's a lot about receiving. And how do we receive? We receive in the form of insights, of intuition, of synchronicities. So in this journey of asking for what we want and walking towards what we want, number 1, we become empty. We empty the mind. Our one job of our conscious mind is to just switch itself off so that we can listen to that higher intelligence from our intuition, from our subconscious, because that's the realm at which our visions and our dreams live. So listen. And how do we listen? Empty. Open up our body, open up our heart, silence the mind, listen, notice the synchronicities, and have the faith and confidence that that's how the universe communicates to us. It's with those synchronicities, it's with those gentle nudges, and having the humility to know I don't know better than life itself. I don't know better than the universe itself, and having the humility to trust those nudges. So it's in that listening where we get in touch with that natural flow of abundance. So I hope that makes sense. And then the final ingredient to manifesting is coming into the 3D world and building a money printing machine. And of course, money is just one aspect of this manifestation. But yeah, the money printing machine is how we turn the formless into form with systems, with actual. I'm just seeing a buddy. He might have gone. Anyway, so those are my 8 ingredients: emptiness, alignment, aligning yourself with the river of compassion, maximizing, living in awe and wonder, living like a child, asking, acting as if, saying to yourself over and over again, it is done, it is done, it is done. Receiving intuition, the internal nudges, the feelings, the senses, the synchronicities, and then finally creating that money printing machine, which is what I do inside UCC. So I hope this has been useful. If you want to learn more about this, give me a follow. And I'm currently looking to work with a couple of clients in 2025 who want to build a community and take their business to multiple 6 figures by firstly mastering the energy of manifestation, the energy of attraction, but also by building that money printing machine with a client creation engine and retention with the community. Anyway, drop me a message just saying curious, and we'll book a call and we'll have a chat. But I hope this has been useful. I'm going to do way more of this content because I'm so passionate about it. And when you really understand this, life becomes incredible because you just know it is all done. There's nothing to do. As it says in the Tao Te Ching, the Tao does nothing and leaves nothing undone. That for me is about just being. When you just be, it is all there. It's our natural essence, it's our natural state to have all our needs met. The universe will always meet our needs, and aligning ourselves with that river of compassion. Because again, compassion, giving, kindness is our natural essence. I hope this has been useful. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you next week for another live. Beautiful. See you guys.